Good morning.
We hope everybody's well and that you've had a good week. Sue's come round to join me this morning.
Yes, we're back at Hands Across the Sea HQ this morning, aren't we?
We're in my little nook where I like to come to reflect and look out at the sea. I've been away for a couple of days this week, and Sue and I are having a catch up.
We are.
Yeah, we're going to go out for Sunday lunch tomorrow.
Again. I know, it's good. It was nice.
It was nice last week. So we decided to record the video today so that we weren't rushing for our lunch date. Yeah. So we have got so much to talk about today.
We have, and I've brought a few different things as well. So we're not sure whether we'll get it all in one, are we? But we might do two.
We might do two videos out of this because we've got so much to show you and so many interesting and different things. Okay, so should we show the first and most
start
exciting?
with our scissors?
Yes. Last week was Sue's birthday. And that was why we went out for lunch last week with lots to celebrate. And Sue's wonderful husband bought her something very special.
I think somebody might have helped him out. Well, he saw the last video when I saw Nicola's scissors. What are they?
The Monsieur Roulet ones.
Monsieur Roulet. And I went, oh, they're nice. And he thought, I might get some scissors. So he messaged Nicola, but we couldn't get those ones. But Nicola said, oh, I'm thinking of getting. So look what I got.
Yes.
But
no, the Monsieur Roulet scissors are absolutely fabulous, but they're not easy to get hold of. You can't sort of just go on the internet and buy them as such. If you live in the US, the French Needle sells them. But in the UK, you just can't do that. And the way to get the Monsieur Roulet scissors is to go to France and visit Monsieur Roulet, or go to the big needlework show in Paris, which we intend to do one year when everything settles down for COVID. So that could be 2022.
Very possibly.
Yeah. So I explained to Mark that we couldn't get scissors so quickly from Monsieur Roulet, but I did tell him about these Kahana scissors, which I have been fancying. So how I came to buy mine was I went to find the link for Mark.
Oh, right.
And I thought, oh God, I've got to get them. So I bought the red ones, and Mark bought what colour for you?
Well, they're brown, but you wait and see, because the red ones had sold out apparently.
Well,
You've got my present. You've got my present. So he bought the brown, but when he looked because he thought, brown, I don't know. But when he looked, you'll see the more of an oxblood colour.
Yeah.
So we'll
open them. I can't buy those indigo ones I was talking about last week because by the time I had got round to deciding I wanted them, they were all sold out, and those were limited edition.
I did tell, when Nicola mentioned them, I said to my husband, I said, I bet they sell out now.
Yeah, they did.
So these are my scissors. Now they're not going to show up, are they? The colour, perhaps.
If you take them out of the sheath, they might.
Because they do, they're probably going to look brown.
They're not. They're
not.
The deepest burgundy, aren't they? Let me put
them. Look, if I put brown, you probably can't see. When you get the light on them, they're like a deep burgundy.
Let's hold them up to the red and see if they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Burgundy colour, actually.
They are. There's red in them. They're more reddy than brown.
Yeah, they are.
They're beautiful.
I think they're like an oxblood colour.
A cricket ball red.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that sort of
like burnished leather.
Colour.
That is really nice. Really, really nice. And there's it's not a solid colour.
No, it's not.
No,
it's like a two-tone.
It's like a two-tone one. Anyway,
so don't be put off with brown.
The reason I wanted the Kahana scissors was they are very robust but extremely fine scissors.
They're brilliant. When you do your little pin stitches,
you cut right down.
And I'm on the 103 on the
56 count.
but they do the cut right in a proper click.
Yeah, because
They're
they're
really
so fine,
good.
you can get so close to the base of the thread. So these are really finely high precision
Yeah, they
made,
are. They are nice.
engineered.
Yeah.
I
They're
can't
so
think of the
precious that I still have my old cheap scissors. And when I'm cutting the length of floss off, I use my cheap scissors. And then when I'm cutting it on my needlework, I use those. So I think I'm going to get twice as long out of those because I'm not using them.
Yeah.
So I'm still... They
They
are very
are
precious.
beautiful,
They're
aren't
lovely.
they?
Really nice. Do you keep the tassel on when you... Because it gets on my nails.
Does it?
When I cut
See,
it, I go,
I am always losing my scissors. So
Yeah.
when I'm sat there, I'm always looking for my scissors, and they go all over the place. You know, they go down the side of the chair. Whereas if you've got a scissor fob on them, it stops them sort of disappearing away. So you can, you know, when you're feeling,
Yeah.
you can feel that as well.
Because I usually hang them, because I've got a needle needs frame, and they've got like a little hook, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm looking at that there.
Yeah.
And I used to hang my scissors on that, but I'm not going to hang these because of the lacquer, it'll spoil the
Spoil
lacquer.
them. So I do like a scissor fob,
Yeah.
purely because the fact that when
So
they
when
do
I
slip down the
cut
side of the
sometimes.
chair, I've got something
Yeah.
to pull
I was
back.
going to take it off, but I'll leave it on.
Anyway, we're lucky girls.
Yeah, so there's our scissors.
Yeah, and your husband was very thoughtful.
It was, so I'm going to start on these videos going, oh, I really like that Nicola that you've got. Oh, I really
Do you think
like
Father
that.
Christmas will bring it? Oh, they're
They're our
lovely.
scissors.
They're really, really nice. I'm so thrilled with them. So, the thing with those is collecting different colours now. I can see this is going to be
They've got
dangerous.
like a white colour, haven't they? Like an off-white colour.
Like a pearl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a special edition.
really. So you've been researching these?
I
now?
did, I had a look. Yes, but no, I'm quite happy with mine.
I think a black pair would be really nice.
Oh, yeah. If they could do it a bit like that, so there's like a tone of
Yeah.
black. But
Yeah.
no, they are nice.
That's
aren't
really, I do like those very, very much, very
Mm.
much. Okay, so have you had any other goodies this week? Or?
they? No.
I've had some goodies come.
I'm all goodied out.
You're all goodied out. I've had the complete collection of DMC threads come this week.
Wow.
And a few weeks ago we posted a conversion for Honora Maxwell, and Lisa had laid out the DMC, the Soie 103 and the Soie d'Alger, and I had so many comments back about how people appreciated seeing the DMC colours against the Soie 103. I thought I would like to do this for our clients, you know, because we're here to provide a service to you. So I have bought all the DMCs so that in future, if I lay out silks, I can put the DMC with them. But I now have to store these in a way that I can access them easily. I do have... Was that thunder?
I don't know.
That was something.
Oh, was
wasn't
one
it?
of the dogs is scared
Oh,
trying to get in.
I do have the wooden DMC box, but I didn't buy it with the DMC threads, and I bought it without them. So maybe I need to take out what I've been storing in that for like the last 15 years and put these in. But
It's like a sweetie shop.
It is
isn't
like a
Look at all
sweetie
the
shop.
colours. I've got lots of DMC because I mean I still like DMC though.
oh, there's nothing wrong with
No, there
DMC.
isn't.
Absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. Beautiful, beautiful colours.
Yeah.
So that's a job I need to do, is sort those out, because until I sort them out, there's no way I can sort
No,
of
you can't just chuck a bag down and say.
with that colour. And something else I
Wow.
had come this week was this book,
Oh,
The Fabric
that'd be
of Civilization by Virginia Postrel, and it's how textiles made the world. And if ever I see a book that's related to colour, textiles, embroidery, I always like to get it because it's something the topic fascinates me.
I always find it interesting because I love history and I love going in the museums, and I love, well, Egyptology is my big interest.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic when they have some of the actual linens that we used, and for them to survive for that long.
I know. On the inside cover it says the story of humanity is the story of textiles, as old as civilization itself. Since the first thread was spun, the need for textiles has driven technology, business, politics and culture. And that is so true.
It is.
So true. Really, really is.
Well, that does tie into something that I've brought as well, which we didn't know, that one of my great-great-grandfather's tailor's
Yes,
little
we'll
book.
have a look at that now. This is interesting. The beginning of binary code and perhaps all of mathematics is found in weaving.
Really? No.
That's
Little-
thought-provoking.
Yes, your little brain cells can work for that.
Yeah. So I haven't even dipped into this book yet. It came while I was away.
No.
So that's something I'm going to look forward to.
There'll be references in that you got. Do you know what? That
Yeah.
I can see how that started now.
Yeah.
Be an interesting book.
So it's split into fibre, thread, cloth, dye, traders, consumers, innovators, and why textiles.
Yeah.
So that's...
You wouldn't think you could make a book out of that.
No, but you can.
Mark, that looks a really nice book.
On Amazon. So the fabric of civilization, it does promise to be an interesting book. I think that was all that actually came in the post, but you've got that book to show, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah, which I thought was really, really interesting.
It doesn't look much now, but it's my 3 times great-grandfather was a tailor, and actually his brother was and his father was, and this book starts in 1844.
1844.
And it's the 1844 almanac, but how people carried on using things, and what he's done is he's written in all his accounts for his tailors. And it's just very interesting because we've got in 1846 he makes a watch pocket. I mean, there's lots of things.
Where does it show that? Let's have a look.
It says your watch pocket making. So somebody's gone in and said, look, I need a watch pocket. Very practical, it mustn't have had one.
And how much did he charge for that?
Well, I don't know all money.
Is that
it
3 pence?
3 pence.
3 pennies.
3 pennies, yeah. And so he's not a brilliant accountant. Ray wouldn't agree with this, would he? But then Robert Jacket altering. So and there's a lot of mending. People just didn't throw things away the same, did they? They went back to the tailor.
Yeah, and altered the jacket. Because people left clothes in their wills.
They did,
A waistcoat in black, 4 pennies.
It's incredible. And some of the spelling as well. It was actually spelt waistcoat right there. And then there's the cloth that they use. Now he spelt it, I think it should be fustian.
Yeah.
Fustian, isn't it? He spelt it F-U-X.
Where's this
H-T-O-N. There, fustian. You see?
This is amazing anyway, but the fact that this is your great-great-great-grandfather just makes that
And they've
absolutely
kept it.
superb.
And waistcoat there, he spelt it W-A-Y-S coat. Waistcoat. And then also in here, there's lots of it, but how they used it to mark how people work today's. So it's a square. So that would be a full day or a half day or a quarter day.
That's amazing.
So I just think it's really, really interesting.
And was he a self-employed tailor or was he working for somebody else?
No, self-employed. There is a reference, it's mainly male things, but there's here in 1846, on February the 21st, your daughter stays. So he's done the daughter stays.
Ah,
So he did do some ladies' things.
yeah.
And obviously the stays were in their corsets.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, could you imagine having to wear stays?
I know. Yeah, it would just be terrible, wouldn't it, to
Absolutely.
do that?
That's just amazing.
And then his son, so my 2 times great-grandfather, was a handloom weaver. So they made pieces of cloth at home. And here we've got the record. He must have been so proud. January the 1st, 1845, Isaac's, that's my great-great-grandfather, first warp, first 2 pieces of cloth that he made. And there's also a reference here to looms. So they wove these at home.
Hand weaving.
Hand-loom weaving. And that goes into what that book will say, because that's how they used to weave the pieces. And actually in Halifax, there's what is called the Piece Hall.
Yeah.
P-I-E-C-E, so
Yeah.
piece. And a piece was a hand-woven length of cloth that was 30 yards
Right.
long, and that was a piece of cloth. And that's what they sold in the Piece Hall. And it's like, it's on, I think it's on 2 or 3 tiers. It's like a courtyard with tiny little shops in it. And then I think it was once a week, twice a week, they went for a couple of hours and they would sell their cloth.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful building. If ever you're in Halifax in West Yorkshire, you must go to see the Piece Hall. It's a Grade 1 listed Georgian building. I think it was built in 1797. So I don't know whether, it wasn't that far from Halifax, probably only about 15 miles. So whether he ever sold his pieces of cloth in the Piece Hall or not, but there was cloth halls throughout the north of England.
Yeah.
But it's nice just to have that little record
Of course
there.
it is, and the fact that's survived and stayed
Oh,
in the
I know.
family is so precious.
There's all sorts of things in it. I think he did a bit of money lending. He lent £10 to somebody. So he must have been doing quite
£10
well.
a fortune.
Then I don't know where it all went, but it was and he would like keep beasts
Yeah.
for people, so cows. I think he must have had a bit of land.
Yeah.
But he spells that B-E-A-S and misses the T off for bees.
Yeah. Well, of course, you see, with tailoring, when the sewing machine was invented and the industrial, the Industrial Revolution, tailors working from home, they couldn't compete with, mass-produced clothing. The same as the hand-loom weavers in their cottages. When the mills opened,
Well,
that was it.
Isaac, who was a handloom weaver, he ended up going to Keighley, which is where I'm from, and that's where the family, I only thought we were from Keighley before, but he sort of left a smaller place of handloom and went and worked in the mills. And that's where Keighley was the mills, in the mills, because obviously it was more productive. Cloth became then cheaper than handloom weaving was out of business, so he would have stopped doing that, and that's how they ended up going to the mill workers. Became worsted weavers, the wool there.
So many of the samplers that we see today were stitched in the north of England. We see a lot of samplers from Yorkshire, Lancashire, Northumberland and Scotland, and that's where there is this huge industry of people weaving in their cottages, and I'm sure that many of the samplers that we see, that linen was woven by the family that the girls stitched
Very
on.
probably,
very much so.
Yeah. It's last, I've forgotten. The Hobby House special edition.
Rose.
Rose, yeah. On the back, because this girl spent some time in Keighley. I actually, because she's I'm going to have to buy her and I'm going to have to stitch her. Because Nicola said about bobbins.
Yeah.
I've just done my kitchen and painted them. So before I put them back up on the top of the unit, so I thought I'd bring them. Because these will be from the mills in Keighley. So I thought if I could stitch that. And you said about putting them on, I don't know.
Oh, they're very, very easy to put on, Sue. Once you've stitched it, we'll sit down and do it, and maybe we can take some photographs to show in a future video of how you do it.
I thought that'd be quite nice, because my dad he was an electrician, a maintenance electrician, so he worked on the machines.
In the mills.
But in the mills, so these would have come from
well, it'd be amazing
mills.
if you stitched
That's
Jane,
what I thought would be nice.
because of the Keithley connection, and to put it on a bobbin
From Keith.
from Keithley. I'm sure many of you are fed up of hearing about Rose, but Rose Ada Featherstone is the limited edition release exclusively for Hobby House Needleworks, and with Rose you get a bonus sampler which is Jane Elizabeth Milner, and this is our little thank you for participating in the stitch along that we're having, and for purchasing the little booklet. So there's her little chart, and we also give you some history about Jane. And then you just twist the booklet around, and then you have Rose Ada's sampler. There are not many of these left now. This is really on the home run. So if you are interested, now is the time. This is the sampler, which was also, this one is from Yorkshire. You know, this is not a million miles away from
Yorkshire. I can't remember where she was.
It's not a million miles away.
No. Trying to look.
Ripon. She was not too far from Ripon.
Oh yeah, that's quite.
It's all sort of that, all that area, Okay, well that's really interesting. So I'm so glad that you shared that.
I'll just put it down
there. So glad that you shared that. Funny enough, I've pulled an old book.
Yes,
and
we
neither of us knew what we
were doing.
Neither of us knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
I've, as you know, clearing out the bookcase because Mark's had some of the books.
Yeah.
I am going to be reorganising my book collection because I'm getting so frustrated. I've got so many books on needlework, textiles and colour that I can't always put my hand, so I'm actually going to take everything out and re-index it. And I came across these books, and I've got several of them, and basically these books are a collection of magazines.
Wow.
So you've got all these magazines have been bound into the books. And these are, the dates are on them. Let me put my glasses on. This is 1933 to 1931. But they're bound in the years. And it's so interesting. And I just found these in a second-hand bookstore in Truro.
Wow.
And I only paid a couple of pounds for them. And they are fabulous. You know, they've got articles on needlework throughout the world, on all different types of embroidery and needlework. They're black and white, which is not as nice as colour, but they're so well written, and they cover such a collection of different crafts and articles on all sorts of elements, everything. And of course, years ago, people made things, they didn't buy them, did they? Really interesting.
And there's no Google internet, was there? So this is how you had your reference.
That's exactly right.
And they would be lost, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
If they weren't bound, you know, just a thin magazine.
Yeah. All these makes of cotton, they've gone out of business. Yeah. That's CB Cottons, Cartier-Bresson in London. The exclusive brilliant lustre. I love looking through things like this. Very interesting. And I actually thought
DMC, look.
Yeah, there's DMC. There's DMC.
Oh,
and this is an advert for Harrods.
Oh gosh.
Like if you go into Harrods now and you go into looking for the needlework, it's a very tiny little section. But in its day, it would have been, you know, not a floor, but a huge section of the floor. So it says, if you knit, crochet, embroider, hook rugs, or indulge in any other form of needlecraft, I love the word indulge, Harrods Needlework Department stocked to capacity with the finest selection of every known working material, appliance and instruction book. It's your happy hunting ground.
You don't think of Harrods.
Assistants and demonstrators are ready to help and advise, and of special interest are the many made-up articles, always on show, and it was on the ground floor. And the fact that it was on the ground floor shows how important it was.
Yeah.
But I love the word indulge. Happy hunting ground.
Yeah.
This was written by somebody who understood. I love all things like this, but if you want to borrow these and dip into them, you are so welcome. It's great. But there's an article on Greek lace there and Ruskin linen work.
Oh.
You know, lovely little things to
Yeah,
dip
yeah.
into, but it's heavy. Feel that?
Gosh, it is, isn't it? Beautiful thing.
It is lovely, isn't it?
I love the smell of them.
Old books. Yeah. Not if they've come from smokers, though. So what else did you bring?
What else did I bring? Oh, I brought the old scarf.
You found it?
I found it.
Where was it?
It was just in another box. I think since we've moved, I've got to get things out, and we've been nearly a year, and I still haven't got to get.
That's because of COVID, though. It's
It is,
changed
isn't it?
everything.
There's my old Scott. Finally brought it.
Show
And the
your
initials.
satin stitches, because they're beautiful. Sue's satin stitches are really
This was
gorgeous.
the first one I stitched from Hands Across the Sea. I love the colours, and I love this sort of lace.
I know, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Really, really beautiful.
And there, I do bore people with my history, but I changed that.
Yeah.
And I put in my ancestors
Yeah.
from Scotland at the time, about 1740, 1760, when this was Scott. So it's McBean's.
There we are, why not?
Benjamin
Make
and
this
Elizabeth
sample your own.
McBean. And I've actually got the McBean tartan.
That's your family
That's
tartan.
my family tartan.
It's a lovely one, Sue, as well.
It's a sash. Went to a 50th birthday party and he was Scottish, so he had to wear, so it's one of the body sashes I bought.
Lovely.
And on my little gargoyle that I knit, it's a gargoyle from, was it Wells or York Cathedral? I can't remember, I think it was Wells. And there was a knitting pattern, but that's the actual clan badge.
And you
That
secure
it
your
goes,
sash.
like your sash goes across and then you have your clan badge. So it can be like Outlander.
23rd of November is getting closer. Really,
So I had to go in the loft to find him today. I thought, oh, where's my clan badge? And I knew it was on him.
Yeah.
He used to sit in the downstairs toilet.
Yeah.
And he'd sit going,
Lovely. Sue, you need to get this
I
framed.
do.
You need to get this framed.
I do. Yeah, so I changed it and I put my other ancestors there. So there, this is my 6 times great grandfather. They've been 7 times. They're family.
Lovely.
I changed it.
I had a really lovely email from a needleworker this week asking permission to personalise a sample. It was so lovely, and I wrote back to her, never worry about making one of our samplers your own. We are very honoured that you would choose one of our samplers to make your own. So all the little girls did. The little girls didn't stitch their needlework teacher's ancestors on their samplers or their needlework teacher's name. They might have included her name, but they would have put their own name and their own family on these samplers. Definitely.
No, I remember because I felt guilty changing
No,
the
you
initials.
shouldn't. You
but-
shouldn't.
Like this, was it Linlithgow Palace? That,
Well, that was
What do you
our
think?
theory.
yeah.
It was poo-pooed by a lot of people, but that's our theory, and I think, there's nothing to disprove.
I always thought that was a little monkey at first.
It's a little old bandy man.
It is.
Yeah. Talking about putting names on samplers, the beginning of the week I heard from a friend who had bought a sampler, and this is somebody who has lots of experience in samplers, and when the sampler came, it was a reproduction, it was not an original, and they are having terrible trouble getting their money back. And from the photograph, it looked a lovely sampler, but it was only when the sampler arrived that it was clearly obvious to her, with all her experience, that this was a reproduction. It's stitched on linen that was not woven when the sampler was supposedly stitched, and it also turns out that this sampler was reproduced. We she knows now where the original is and who reproduced it. She's provided a copy of the book that the pattern was in, and she is still having terrible trouble getting her money back. And really, we should be putting our names or our initials or the actual year that it was stitched to sort of prevent this from happening. And I think as well that as you know, more and more over-dyed fabrics are available to us that make the piece look aged, it's getting harder and harder for people to...
Well, we stitch, don't we, to replicate.
Yeah.
Not for any illegal purposes.
No, we're not forging.
No.
We're not, counterfeiting.
No, but you want it to look old,
Yeah.
and I suppose
Yeah.
then it's difficult.
It is
So
difficult.
I saw an antique sampler, didn't I? This I spoke to you about
Yeah.
it. I just fell in love with the verse.
Yeah, it's a lovely verse.
But it was very, very faded, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I asked your advice, because I thought, oh, perhaps if in the back, I thought, oh, perhaps the colours would be
Yeah.
right, but you thought perhaps they would still be muddy.
When colours go sludgy and muddy on the front, they tend to be that colour on the back. If they fade, then often the colours could be more vibrant, but those colours have gone sludgy. And I know exactly why you wanted the sampler, because of that verse, and you will see that verse on the
Yeah, well,
samplers.
Nicholas, they're very, very inexperienced.
No, but we're all learning every
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
and the fact you've got an inquiring mind will mean
Yes.
that you'll learn quicker.
But it's interesting what you say about
Yeah.
that other sampler then, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
so easy, I suppose, out there to...
Absolutely. So, never be afraid to make a sample of your own. It'll be more precious to your descendants. Plus the fact you're not going to create a problem for future years where somebody tries to pass your work off as one that was stitched in the 17 or 1800s. So, there we are. When we did our last video, we were talking about paper, embroidery on paper.
Yeah.
I've actually finished those little samplers, and well, I finished it last night because I hadn't really worked on it, and I thought I'd better get cracking. So I had already finished Martin.
Oh, they're so pretty.
When I did my video last week, and there it is. It's just a tiny little bit smaller than the original.
That is so lovely.
Lovely, isn't it? I'm really pleased. The colours have worked so well.
Yeah, I'm going to
haven't they?
have to stitch these because...
And the one I finished last night was Emma. So there's Emma Hubbard. And again, she's very, they are both exactly the same size. And there is her sampler. And last night when I sat down, I had got to the I in praise. It didn't take me long. I did the rest of this last night. It's a very straightforward little stitch, and they're lovely. So what I'm going to do is, obviously we're going away on Monday up to Wales. When I come back, I'm going to try my best to get to the framers, but if not, it'll be the week after. And I'm going to ask him if he could somehow replicate these frames and put these little hanging hooks, so they're going to be. I'm hoping.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm hoping if he can come up with something. Pete's brilliant. If it can be done, he will be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to hang those in the same way.
Yeah.
And we will release them so that you can stitch them too, but it'll be next year.
I'm going to stitch them because that's sort of my colour. I've got that colour in my lounge, so it'd be nice.
If you could see my haul,
It's
full of boxes. Got to get those out before I do any more.
Because you were saying about the linen last time, and I said, oh, and where I'm stitching Emily Greenaway, I said, I bet that's the right colour. It was,
Oh
so you
yeah,
put some
that's
off the
right.
bottom,
When we
didn't you?
finished filming the video, we carried on talking, and this came out, wasn't it? So it was so funny. Sue had some surplus linen, so you whisked it off your frame
So you cut
and
it
cut
off.
it off.
And then start stitched.
So this is the same linen as Emily. Have you brought Emily?
I have
Oh,
brought
let's have a
Emily.
look and see how you've got on.
Gone a little bit. This is my little badge. Like it's Remembrance Sunday, so
Yes.
I've got my poppies.
Remembrance Sunday,
But she's in a different
or
bag.
Armistice Day, or
Yes.
I don't know if Veterans Day is on the 11th, or if Americans do anything on the Sunday
I
as
don't
well.
know.
But it's very, very important to us, and our wonderful, wonderful Queen. Even though she hasn't been well, they say she's
Apparently.
absolutely determined to attend the Remembrance Day. So that gives me goose pimples when you think of her service to this country.
I know she's remarkably. Yeah, so this bit of linen is now a bit shorter.
Yeah, it's a bit
because
shorter.
This is the always cut off it. But yes, I've done a little bit more.
We've got Rudolph.
We've got Rudolph.
Okay, what are the other names?
Dancer, Prancer. Oh God,
Blitzen.
No, there's a thing, isn't there? It's Dancer, Prancer, Dasher and Vixen. Cupid, Comet, Donna and Blitzen, that's it. It's
Well
the Dasher
done.
one I forget.
Okay.
So
Maybe
now
okay for
this.
Christmas.
Yes, so I've got most of it done.
It's
so.
beautiful, Sue. I love all those colours.
They're nice, aren't they?
Can we just show it once more? Because it's as more and more is being added, this sampler is really coming to life. So pretty.
Wow.
Do you know, a sampler doesn't have to be big to have great impact
No.
at all.
No.
That's really,
Nice,
really
sweet
lovely.
one. I've got the original there. so-
Yes. What was I going to say? Right, going back to paper.
Oh yeah.
You know, I said I'd had a run of samplers on paper. I love this sampler. Let me just take this off so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so this sampler is on paper.
Oh yes, you showed me. You
Yeah.
sent me this. Yeah.
This is on paper, and it is 1904, and it's got the E and the R. Now, E and R, you think Elizabeth Regina, but of course this is Edward Rex. It was Edward the Seventh was on the throne then, and this sampler says Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all. When this you see, remember me when I am far away from thee. To mother and father from Oscar. And I thought, oh, that's just so beautiful, I've got to have that. And when I saw the anchors, I thought that maybe that this was a sailor who was away at sea. But anyway, I bought it, and when it came, it had something.
I know, I've
written
just
on
seen
the back.
that because I remember you sent me the link
Yeah.
and I looked at it and we were debating all that, but I've just seen
So
that.
it says
yeah.
Oscar Leonard Topsfield from HM Greenwich School, 1904. So Greenwich School is now the Naval College at Greenwich,
Right.
and this Oscar was not at sea; he was at college studying, or
Interesting.
or a naval cadet to become a member of the Navy. So he wasn't away at sea, but he was away at
That
school.
makes sense now because
Okay.
we were thinking all sorts.
All right.
weren't we?
So I wondered how old he actually was when he stitched this sampler, and he was born in 1892, and he lived till 1974.
Oh, right.
So it's a good age, wasn't it? 82? 82, yeah. And he was actually 12 when he stitched this sampler. And when I was investigating him,
Oh, fantastic!
here's a picture of him on his wedding day. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, don't they look lovely?
Does look lovely. I think that's just fabulous. So I've got to investigate his naval career.
Gosh, yes.
He married Catherine Viney. So those hands, those great big
Yes.
hands that are like shovels stitch this sampler.
Oh, that's so sick. Because I was wondering if it was Irish, because I thought they were shamrocks.
They
but they're
do
not.
look like
Probably
shamrocks.
just clover out there or something. But
I don't know.
oh,
So-
good, I'm glad you found out.
Yeah,
That's,
I love things like that, I really do. But this sampler actually has another little mystery for me,
oh.
and it's all about the threads used.
Ah, yes, because the, I don't know what's the word, different colours.
They're
aren't they?
variegated.
That's it.
Well, that's what they appear,
Oh.
but they're not variegated at all.
Oh.
What he's done, he has, for example, stitched the top of Remember in one colour, the
Yeah.
middle of the letters in another colour, and the bottom of the letters in a third colour. Now, if you were using variegated threads, no way
No, it
would
wouldn't be right. No,
they
it
all
wouldn't.
fall
No.
so perfectly. So what he's done, he's worked across the top of the letters, then he's worked the middle, and then he's worked the bottom. And I wanted to check out this theory, so I took it out of the frame, but unfortunately this is not in best condition, and it has been ironed onto a piece of interfacing.
Yeah.
It's been ironed onto some interfacing, so I can't actually take that off without spoiling it. I'm not going to do that. You know, although I'm curious, I would not damage the needlework. But you can, if you start looking at the back of the sampler, you can actually see where the colours have been carried across.
Yes, yes, you can. Yeah.
And he did have long threads, long carries.
Yes, you can.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I'm doing put it on the interface.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's done a while ago, doesn't it?
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
this is quite old. This has been done, you know.
somebody's done it to
Yeah. To preserve it.
red
'cause it's-
pen. It says.
Yeah. Because you see, it's actually breaking up.
Yeah, it is.
So somebody's done this to stabilise
Which is-
it. Maybe his wife did that
Yeah.
at some stage.
Somebody has done it.
Yeah.
Because you don't realise. Oh,
No. So
that is really.
it's really, really lovely, isn't it?
Mm.
So this won't be for this Christmas, but we'll have to
You'll have
do
to get
this
done,
for maybe next Christmas. That would be a lovely stitch, because it's a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all.
I think it's lovely.
It is lovely, isn't it? Really, really nice.
But to do the different, yeah, when you sit,
Yeah.
it did look like it was very, but it's not, is it? You can see. I
No.
wonder why you did that. Was it just for to make it
Heaven
different?
knows. Heaven knows. But it's lovely. Really, really nice.
Or was there not as much thread in it? I don't know.
I think it's really lovely.
It is.
Yeah, got creative. Sailors, you know, are very into their knots.
Well, I
Why not? So I just thought that was really lovely to share with everybody. This is one of the reasons why my love and interest in samplers
I
will
can
never
see,
fade, because
yeah.
there's always
Yeah.
something
There is.
that will amaze you. You think you've seen it all,
Yeah.
and you haven't. So
Be able to find out what his
what it
rating
all
is.
means, yeah. But he's got a lovely smile.
Yes, yeah.
But those hands are huge,
Yeah.
huge. So
Bless them.
yeah. Have you got anything else?
I don't think I have. I think I've exhausted what I've got.
Well, I got down a piece of needlework to show you. This needlework, and thank God I put the date on it, because I would never have known, is 2007.
Oh, I like the diamond
Yeah.
shape.
So it's based on a Norfolk sampler. Now, I know that people out there will know, but I can't remember whether this was a Moira Blackburn or whether this was maybe the Historical Needlework Society. I just cannot remember who it was by. This was done on Ada, and this hangs in the bedroom that we call Val's bedroom, and
Oh.
Val is Ray's sister, and we're going to Wales on Monday to visit Ray's sister. Unfortunately, she has Alzheimer's very, very badly, yeah, we're going up to see her. So I was looking for things that I could take that would mean something to her, to give us some conversation pieces. So that's why I was in what we call her bedroom.
Yeah,
And I thought, oh, I'll show this needlework.
Definitely.
Not that I'm taking this needlework to Wales, but yeah. Be proud of all your needlework. A lot of people say, oh, you know, it's on Ada. It's still as beautiful. It doesn't matter what it's stitched on, whether it's paper, linen, Ada, it's precious. Absolutely precious. So
It still takes as much time
exactly
to stitch
It's
whatever,
worth
because
as
you're
much.
still taking that piece of floss
Yeah.
and making a cross with it.
What
So
does it say? The heart has its reasons, which reasons know nothing of. God, that's so true. So true. So that's an early piece of needlework. Last week, I showed this piece of needlework, Doris Wood, stitched in
It is
1929. Isn't it stunning? I haven't put it away. I just cannot take my eyes off this, and every time I look at it, I see something different.
we had some woodcuts from around about that time, and the flowers and that in it, and the colours really put that in that period, I think.
Yeah. I'd love to take this out and have a look at the back, and I probably will, because I want to have this reframed, conserved and reframed,
Oh,
you know,
it's
because that's
beautiful,
worth,
yeah.
you know, it's just so beautiful. Doris was very, very
different
gifted.
stitches.
Yeah.
That
But
black work's not, you can see.
I also have another sampler, and this was, you know, being chucked out, and I thought, I'm giving that a home. And funny enough, that was stitched in 1927, so 2 years before
Yeah.
Doris. Elsie Florence Wells stitched this sampler, and I have shown this before, but I will show it again, and it's got a very funny glass on it, which I really need to have this glass taken off and museum glass put on. But it's the same sort of theory, and many of the same sort of stitches.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, this is so heavy. Hold on. Hold on. Let's just hold this a different way. You know, in a way, almost the same theory of you've got this central
Definitely.
flower and then all these different skills going around it.
And that was going to be thrown out.
It was going to be thrown out. I thought, I'm giving that a home. I'm giving this a
So sad,
home.
isn't it? Because that
Yeah,
would take some.
it's beautiful.
But it is, isn't it? Very similar.
It's similar, 2 years apart. So obviously this was something that was fashionable to do at that time. And all this, you know, show off all this
The
different
colours are
needlework.
very similar as well.
Yeah. Well, what was fashionable, what was available,
Beautiful.
the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Just looking at the crest at the top.
It's lovely, isn't it?
That is beautiful work.
Yeah, really skilled work.
Gosh, that would be a big project, wouldn't it?
Yeah, great project. When in my early needlework journey, I used to do a lot of Victoria sampler work, and Theodore, you know, she always had great variety of stitches, and it was a wonderful way to learn different stitches, very much so. I've been asked about whether we will reproduce that. The answer is I really, really do not know. I think
It will be a big,
it'd
big.
be lovely though.
Yeah.
Like my fingers itch to do it, but whether, I don't know. I really don't know. We shall see. We shall see. But I thought I would share Elsie as well, and you know how similar they are. We're just 2 years apart.
Beautiful.
Lovely, isn't it? Really nice.
It would be hard to chart that, wouldn't it? Do you think?
It's just patience. Charting is always about patience. You're not going to ever sit down and go boom, 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 and it's
No.
done. It's stitch by stitch by stitch, and it builds the same.
I suppose it's just
It's
like
just
stitching
like
it.
stitching
Yeah,
it.
I bet it is.
It's
yeah.
just like stitching it. So
Yeah.
there we are. November. It's like you stitch black things in November. Have you seen that?
No.
On social
No.
media, November is Black November. So
Oh.
people are stitching
Didn't know that.
black samplers, and it's been so lovely to see how many people have been stitching Harriet Goby. This is the model, and this is the original. And I made a mistake, not in the charting is right, but if you hold that up, when I was stitching Harriet, I obviously ran out of thread, finished off,
Oh.
and I forgot to stitch the rest of the line. But it's charted correctly, it's charted with the whole line in, just that I forgot to do that. So there we are. And that's why you should always stitch from the chart and not from the model, because that was my mistake there, that I didn't finish that line off.
We all feel a lot better now, Nicola.
Oh, we all make
that
mistakes.
you've made a mistake.
Yeah, but sometimes, that's what,
You do,
it makes
don't you?
makes it your own. So, yeah, my model has a mistake in it, but the chart is right, and that's what's important.
It's really pretty, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's so funny that where this little girl lived when she stitched this sampler, Ray and I have walked past so many times going to the rugby in Cardiff, to the
Yeah.
Millennium Stadium,
So it's a really nice
Yeah.
link, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, it is. So thank you for everybody who's been stitching Harriet. But I don't know if, as you haven't noticed, it was black
No, I
November.
don't.
You will not have seen Ruth being stitched in black.
No.
Yeah, and it's fabulous. Somebody is
Really?
stitching Ruth Gibbs in black.
Wow,
This little
I
red
never-
sampler that Sue stitched. And she looks absolutely stunning in black.
I bet.
Stunning. So, even though we reproduce them in the colours that they were stitched in, again, don't be afraid to make the sampler your own.
No, I never heard of that black
Yeah, I
stitching in
think
black
it's a
and
new thing for this year, but so many people are doing that. So,
In fact, she's almost like stitching different colours and
you
have
could you could have
you could
like
feel
a
them, don't you?
frame them all together in different colours, because again, this is such a sweet little stitch.
Do you find that red's mainly used as a single colour? Because there seems to be a lot of reds, isn't there?
A lot of red. I love red.
Mm.
Absolutely adore red.
Yeah, I'm going to have a red wall.
Yeah. Some little things I've got to show you, because I thought you would be really interested in, are these really, really old little books of charts of patterns.
Oh,
So this is how people bought their patterns years and years ago. So
That
this
is
little book is giving you border patterns. So it shows you the corners. And there's all these different types of patterns to make up your sampler. So somebody could have this book and stitch from it. You could have 10 people, all
It'll
10
be
samplers
different.
would be different.
yeah.
And on the back they have
Oh,
different fonts.
lovely little book.
And that's what you used to stitch from.
So that's why all these samplers do, some of them do have references, don't they? That look similar
Yeah.
or the same,
Yeah.
but they're not the same. Oh, I see.
And then this is another little book. This is a DMC book, and it's the embroiderer's alphabet from the DMC library. You have to have really good eyesight to see the squares as well. But there's all sorts of things in this book. And I just find things like this so interesting. There's that old book smell again.
Oh yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it? This was the 7th issue, and it was the English edition. And it's published in English, French, German and Italian, and the number of copies issued until now is 1,155,000.
So that would have been in a lot of households, wouldn't it?
I can't see the date the book was published there. No, it doesn't say the date on here. But that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I love little things like this.
So this was the person who sold the book, and that's a little stamp that's been put into it. And it was printed in Mulhouse, France.
Oh, we've been there.
Have you?
My husband broke a toilet seat there.
That's very interesting.
I was in the, he sat on the lid and it cracked. Anyway, that's what I remember of Mulhouse.
They're giving all the thicknesses of the threads in the back. It's so interesting.
My family, hence why we've got all this, never threw anything away. My great aunties and my mum and dad never did, and that's how things like this survive, don't they?
Yeah, it is.
Because a lot of the time, you know, they would have just been thrown away, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Tatting, I've tried to do tatting. Next time I'll bring a piece of tatting that my great auntie did. I can't tat though. Can't do it.
This is lovely.
Mm.
Really nice. You can buy books like this off eBay. And it's just nice to sort of look back and see how things were done and how people, you know, like it's this book. This is the sort of book that maybe Doris or Elsie would have worked from.
You could probably find somewhere in there.
Yeah, you know these little books that they're showing all these different albums of books that you can buy. They would have taken.
It has a 1920s turn of the century feel to it, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Oh my gosh, Sue, we've covered such a lot in a short period of time.
It's probably a longer period of time than we think.
Yeah. I don't know how long we've been talking for. Okay, should we go and put the kettle on?
Yeah, definitely.
Coffee time.
Yes.
Try my new coffee machine.
Oh,
Got a new coffee machine.
We'll see. Has Ray found his coffee yet that he likes?
Not yet, no. We've used the same coffee for years, decades, about 25, 30 years. And recently they've changed the little containers it comes in to something that's sort of, you can put on your compost heap. But the coffee doesn't taste the same. So this is why we've got a new coffee machine, but we haven't found the flavour of coffee that we both like yet. So yeah.
I'll sample it.
Yeah, I got some hazelnut muffin flavoured coffee for you to try. It's a limited edition Christmas one.
Oh yeah, Christmas is upon us.
Christmas is coming.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Not this weekend that we're in, but the following weekend, we're going to issue a little sampler that we think will be lovely to stitch for Christmas. It's not a Christmas, you know, it doesn't relate to Christmas, but to us it's very Christmassy. So look forward to a new release, and I do want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's written to us to express how much they love Maria Vincenza Lorici. But I think there are so many people that have Italian heritage, and you don't see many samplers from Italy being reproduced, that people are so happy that there's an Italian sampler to stitch, because the response to her was absolutely overwhelming. Really
She's
was.
beautiful.
Yeah, she is. So thank you to everybody. We are very touched. And the fact that people take the time to
let you know.
write to us, I think that's really
nice.
Okay, so coffee time.
Bye bye, and wear your poppies with pride.
Oh yes, I haven't got my poppy on.
Oh, have a bag. Yeah, you've got lots of poppies now.
All right, until
Bye.
next week, stay well, stay
Bye.
safe.